This is All of It. I'm Allison Stewart, live from the WNYC studios in Soho. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. I'm grateful that you are here. On today's show, singer-songwriter Pratik Kuhad is here in studio. His new album is titled Full Moon Chamber, and he joins us to talk about it and to play a live acoustic set. Plus, we'll finish the show with something sweet. We'll talk with baker Marissa Bates about her cookbook, The Secret Life of Chocolate Chip Cookies. That's the plan. So let's get this started in the Bronx. A funny thing happened in 2026. We seem to get an extra week of summer. Labor Day is September 7th, and the kids aren't due back in public school until September 10th. So we're continuing our Summer in the City series. We've been going borough to borough, uncovering some of the hidden gems, outdoor spaces, and events happening all around your neighborhoods. Today, we've reached our final stop, the Bronx. It's a borough with a culture and history all its own, from its music and art scenes to its parks, gardens, local restaurants, and community events. Marina Samuel joins me now. She's a Bronx native and a reporter at the Bronx Times, and she's here to share her tips for things to do and see in her borough. Hey, Marina.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, listeners, what do you think people absolutely must do when they go to the Bronx? What's your favorite place? What's your favorite summer in the Bronx ritual? What makes the Bronx great? Did you do something this summer that is a must-do next summer? Call or text us now. Our number is 212-433-9692, 212-433-WNYC. The Bronx it's such a diverse borough with neighborhoods each having their own personality. How would you describe different parts of the Bronx to someone looking to explore?
Yeah, so the Bronx is pretty split up and very distinct in each part. It's a huge borough, and getting to each part has its own challenges. I'm from Neck, which is in the East Bronx, and it is a lot more residential. There's a lot more green space, along with other parts of the northern Bronx. There's the South Bronx, which is what a lot of us would think of when we think of the South Bronx, that really just has the grit of New York City that, we all think about. And then there's the West Bronx that's just as diverse and bustling as, the city.
What do you think people misunderstand about the Bronx?
A lot of things.
Go for it. You have the mic.
Yeah, so when people think of the Bronx, they have these outdated images of the Bronx's burning era. They think of urban decay. They think of children standing on the rubbles of their buildings. And it's just so much more than that. Since, the 80s, thanks to the people of the Bronx, we've really rebuilt our neighborhoods, we rebuilt the communities, and we're challenging that stigma every day. But yeah, it's more than, the crime that you associated with back in the day. It's a great place, and the people there are resilient, and I think that really needs to be highlighted.
All right, we have your list of things to do, but if you had one full day in the Bronx and someone said, what should I do? Where would you start?
My go-to every summer, it's a must-go place for every Bronxite, City Island. It's a little island off of Pelham Bay, that neighborhood. It's a little maritime community. It has a big ship faring history. And it's just a great place just to see the water. You could walk through and learn about the borough's history and, the maritime industry. But you have to go there for the seafood. It's kind of
right.
It's like a rite of passage. You got to go there. You have to hit all the seafood restaurants. You can't hit them all. You're not going to get, fancy seafood. You're most likely going to get fried seafood, but you'll also get great drinks. But that's a go-to thing to do every summer.
I went there once for Mother's Day. It was right sort of after COVID, and it was so great to be outside on City Island, and the food and the seafood was awesome.
Yes, it's amazing. Yeah, you could sit outside, have some fried shrimp, have a Henny Colada. I'm not a big drinker, but I love getting drinks at City Island. It's just amazing.
We are continuing our Summer in the City series. Today we're discussing the Bronx. Joining us is Marina Samuel, a reporter at the Bronx Times and a Bronx native. Listeners, we want to get you in on this conversation. What would you want people to know about the Bronx? What's your favorite place? What's your summer in the Bronx ritual? What's something you did this summer that will definitely make your list next summer? Our number is 212-433-9692, 212-433-WNYC. Let's talk to Taylor, who's calling in. Hey, Taylor, thanks for making the time to call all of it.
Hi, I just wanted to say that this is my first year living in the Bronx in the Riverdale area. And this summer I went to Van Cortlandt Park and went to the Pinkster Festival, which is like a African Dutch holiday that enslaved Africans gathered and celebrated at. And there's a beautiful mansion there that you can tour and see the beautiful greenery. And all the Brooklyn people come to the Bronx. It's time.
I agree.
Thanks for calling in, Taylor. All right, we'll talk about, because the weather's still warm, where can we go to the beach?
So the Bronx has one public beach. It's called Orchard Beach. So you could get there. You take the 6 train all the way down to Pelham Bay Park, the first stop, and you take a bus down to Orchard Beach. And yeah, it's a great place to just relax. I think a lot of Bronxites kind of hesitate about the water, but I looked this up recently. The water is actually very clean, cleaner than Rockaway, I believe. And it's just a great place to relax. They recently renovated the pavilion, which was a WPA era pavilion that they had bathhouses in, they had vendors, and it took a long time for that to get renovated. It was in disarray, and they really, revived a lot of that Art Deco architecture that, was kind of lost in the years. So now that pavilion has vendors, it has food. It's also just a great place to cool down from the heat. It is really crazy how much wind you could get just standing in there. But Orchard Beach is the go-to.
It sounds like the pavilion might be worth a visit in of itself.
Yes, there's so many places in the Bronx just to visit old architecture, especially Art Deco style buildings, and that's just another one of them.
What about if I want to stay in the water, if I want to go kayaking, or if I just want to be near the water?
Mm-hmm. So I was supposed to do this last week, but I didn't. But the Bronx River Alliance, which is a great nonprofit that has really spearheaded efforts to restore the Bronx River, they now offer kayaking, and it's a first come, first served basis. You they have different launch locations, but I've heard it's a great place for you to just learn how to kayak for the first time and just reconnect with the water. A lot of the Bronx River has been neglected for a long time, and they've just really restored it to a place that we could, just go back there.
Let's talk about the Bronx otter. We have to talk about the Bronx otter.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so the Wildlife Conservation Society at the Bronx Zoo recently spotted a river otter in the Bronx River for the first time in nearly 100 years. I believe the river otter used to be native to the eastern parts of New York's waterways, and the fact that it's disappeared within the last 100 years due to trapping, pollution, and the fact that we saw one is a really great sign of hope for the Bronx River. It doesn't mean that, the river otters are back for good, they're breeding, but it's just a really good sign that restoration has really helped.
We got a call from Rob, who's calling in from the Bronx. Hey, Rob, thanks for taking the time to call all of it. Are you there?
San Diego. Yes.
Okay.
You hear me?
I hear. Yeah. Stay still. Don't talk. Don't move around. Okay, go for it.
Okay. So, as I told your screener, I am calling in my capacity as the chairman of the North Central Bronx Hospital Community Advisory Board. And, of course, nobody wants to go to the hospital. They don't have to. But I think it's very important for all your listeners to know that Bronx, our hospital...
Oh, he's going in and out. I think he wants to tell us that the hospital is always putting on events and health fairs and all kinds of organizations and services that people are often free. These services are free, so people should know that. Rob, thank you for calling in. You were breaking up there. Listeners, what's your favorite place to go in the Bronx? What's your summer in the Bronx ritual? What's something you did this summer that will make your list next summer? Call or text us at 212-433-9692, 212-433-WNYC. You can join me and Marina Samuel, a reporter at the Bronx Times. She's also a Bronx native. This text says, a cab driver who brought me from JFK commented about how green my area is, Pelham Parkway here, last frontier of gentrification. So let's say you wanted to take it a little bit slower. What are some good spots to just take a walk?
Just to take a walk, like Pelham Parkway, I'm more closer to Pelham Bay Park. That's an amazing place just to take a walk. I found out recently that Pelham Bay Park is actually 3 times the size of Central Park.
Wow.
It is, even when it's full, there's still space for you to just walk around. There are, natural hiking trails. There's the woods. There's also like tennis courts. It's really just a great place to, take in the nature and just walk around.
Let's say you want to go some in between kayaking and walking and you want to, let's say, yoga or Tai Chi or something like that. Mm-hmm. Where should I go?
Yeah, so Pelham Bay Park does offer a lot of events and they do yoga, they do meditated hikes, they do bird watching. I think they even have canoeing. They can launch it off the water because it shares that shoreline with Orchard Beach. There's tons of things you could do that the parks is hosting.
Let's talk to Joe, who's calling in from Stamford. Hey, Joe, thanks for calling all of it. You're on the air.
Yeah, I was born and raised in the Bronx, within walking distance of one of the greatest zoos in the world, the Bronx Zoo. And you have to go there. And when you're there, not too far away is Arthur Avenue, where you can get some great Italian food. So, I would say the zoo is really a world-class highlight in the Bronx, let me say.
Thanks for calling in. We'll touch on that in just a moment with Marina Samuel, a reporter for the Bronx Times and a Bronx native. We're discussing what you must do if you go to the Bronx this summer. He mentioned the Bronx Zoo. People know Wave Hill, Yankee Stadium. What are some of the museums and galleries or cultural institutions that you would recommend people go see?
Yeah, so we have a lot of great cultural institutions. So we have the Bronx Music Hall, which is a great place that really celebrates the Bronx's, music footprint. And it's not just hip hop, it's not just salsa. They've done exhibits on the hardcore scene in the Bronx. They've done stuff on jazz and R&B in the Bronx, and they host a lot of events for just live music, talks. That's a great place that I would love to visit. If you have children, the Bronx Children's Museum is also a great place. And opening up next year, and it's been very highly anticipated, is the Bronx Hip Hop Museum. That is something none of us have been able to visit yet, but that will be a destination.
We are talking about what you should do if you go to the Bronx. It's part of our Summer in the City series. We're discussing it with Marina Samuel, a reporter at the Bronx Times and a Bronx native. Listeners, we want to know where you think people should visit when they visit the Bronx. What's on your summer to-do list that you plan to do or that you have done and you think, I'll do that next summer as well? Our number is 212-433-9692, 212-433-WNYC. After the break, we'll talk about Arthur Ave. You're listening to All of It on WNYC. I'm Allison Stewart. We're continuing our Summer in the City series. Today, we're discussing the Bronx. Joining us is Marina Samuel, a reporter at the Bronx Times and a Bronx native. Let's talk to Chris from Connecticut, or says he's in Connecticut. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing great.
Yeah, so I don't live in New York City anymore, but when I lived in Inwood in Manhattan, I would ride my bike up to Mosholu Golf Course like 2 or 3 times a week and play golf there. And they are the nicest people in the world, and they have a first tee program, which is for kids. Nice. It's a small course, only 9 holes, but it's very pretty, and it's like a nice oasis in the city away from all the noise and everything, and it feels like a slice of the country in the Bronx. It's great.
Thanks for calling in, Chris. This says the New York Botanical Gardens is free on Wednesday mornings for Bronx residents. This says the Grand Central Stones on the Putnam Rail Trail in Van Cortlandt Park. And someone else said the Bronx Zoo free on Wednesdays if you reserve your ticket online. Okay, I teed it up in our foreword. We were going to talk about Arthur Avenue. Can you explain Arthur Avenue to someone who is unfamiliar?
Yeah, so Arthur Avenue is it's the Little Italy of the Bronx. So back in the day, that's where a lot of Italian immigrants lived, and that's where they kind of built a community for themselves, and it was a place for them to shop for all of their local foods. And over the years, the Italian community has pretty much left, but a lot of that character still is a part of the neighborhood. A lot of the stores are still there selling Italian products. Even though people have moved out of the neighborhood, a lot of Italian Americans in the tri-state area still make their ritual trip down to Arthur Avenue just to get all of their goods, that they would need.
Someone here wrote, the last kosher deli left in the Bronx, he says it's even better than Katz's Deli, Liebman's Deli in Riverdale. It opened in 1953. This is an interesting text. I went to an incredible Mexican Oaxacan restaurant in Riverdale called Tobala. It got a Michelin star in 2025. We were able to walk in without a reservation.
Oh, amazing.
All right, let's talk about food. What kind of food does the Bronx do well?
Oh, it does a lot of food well. For Italian food, of course, Arthur Avenue, that's the go-to place to go. All throughout the Bronx, you'll find great Caribbean food, so Dominican, Puerto Rican, Jamaican. You could go into a mom and pop shop and it'll still be one of the greatest meals that you've had. We do a lot well.
It's still technically Restaurant Week in New York. You wrote about 4 restaurants participating in this summer's Restaurant Week. What are they? Yeah,
so there's Code Red, Flavor of the Bronx, May Cafe, and the Bronx Beer Hall.
All right. The Bronx Beer Hall is on Arthur Ave, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. Flavor of the Bronx. What's served there?
Caribbean food.
Oh, that's at 3114 3rd Avenue. Code Red Restaurant and Lounge. What are we experiencing there?
Also Caribbean food.
That's at 1320 East Gun Hill Road. And then May Cafe and Plant Shop. You didn't mention Plant Shop.
Oh, yeah, May Cafe. Yeah, May Cafe is in the South Bronx. It's one of the few vegan, plant-based restaurants. I think they do offer some meat options. They do also have a plant shop. It's also a really just beautiful green space to just have, community workshops and everything.
That's at 2417 3rd Avenue. Let's take more calls. We got a lot of calls. Let's talk to Les in Bayside. Hey, Les, thank you so much for calling all of it. You're on the air.
You're welcome. I worked up in the South Bronx for 25 years as a teacher up there. If you go up the Grand Concourse right off the Major Deegan, on the right-hand side, you're going to see a really great post office that was built, I think, in the Roosevelt era, for the Depression. So it has these great sculptures outside. If you like architecture, that's a great building just to look at if you're a student of art. And if you go up a little further, just before you hit Yankee Stadium around 160-something Street, the courthouse there, they use it in Law and Order once in a while. It's a beautiful courthouse. It's got all this kind of inlaid gold, this phony gold all over the building, and these great statues outside that, beyond lifelike. They're 6-7 feet tall. It's just tremendous if you like that sort of thing. And across the street from the courthouse is a little tiny park. And if you like movies, they use that to make a scene in Serpico. When Frank Serpico, they said, well, what are we going to do with this guy? All the cops got together and had a meeting. That's only like a 10-block area, and it's just a great little place to go to.
Thanks for all the tips. Let's talk to Michelle. Hey, Michelle, thank you so much for calling us here at All of It. You're calling from Wakefield in the Bronx.
Yes, I wanted to mention the Bronx Documentary Center located on Cortlandt Avenue off 149th Street. They showcase a lot of world-class photographers, and I'm a social worker in a middle school, and I take my students there, and they have just great exhibits, and a lot of it is around social issues, so it's a great spot to visit.
Thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for the work you do. I did want to, since we're talking about social issues, I wanted to ask you about Dan Romano. Mm-hmm. And how he's helping food insecurity in the Bronx. Will you tell us that story?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I love Dan. So Dan has a pizzeria in Throgsneck, and it's right up the block from my house. And I've always seen, many different pizzerias occupy the space. None of them have really lasted. And, I walked by his shop. I also saw this on social media. He had right after opening his pizzeria, he had a big sign outside his stores saying that, please don't look through the trash for food. If you're hungry, come in. I will feed you. I have a lot more love for you than you think. And Dan really lives by that. He has given so much free food to people in the community, and he does it out of the goodness of his heart. And yeah, he's really helping people in the community. And, in Throgsneck is a lot more suburban. You wouldn't think that, people there, we have grocery stores. You wouldn't think that we suffer food insecurity in the same way that other areas do, but it is a thing, and he really does help the community.
So yay for Dan. This says Eleanor's Restaurant on Westchester Ave, amazing African food. That's at 3289 Westchester Ave. We looked it up because we're going, I guess. My guest is Marina Samuel, a reporter for the Bronx Times and a Bronx native. Today in our Summer in the City series, we're discussing the Bronx. Listeners, what's your favorite place to go in the Bronx? What's your summertime ritual in the Bronx? What is something you did this summer that will definitely make your list next summer? Our number is 212-433-9692, 212-433-WNYC. A lot of families listen to WNYC. What can you recommend for families to do?
For families, there's tons of things. Of course, there's Wave Hill, which is in the West Bronx. It's a beautiful, it's one of those places where you don't even feel like you're in America. You walk in and it's a beautiful garden estate. It's purely, I can't even describe how beautiful it is with the flowers, the architecture. So there's that. Also, Orchard Beach is very family friendly. We have a summer concert series as well, hosted by our borough president, Vanessa Gibson. And it's just a great place to just relax with family and have fun.
There's a place, I think it's on City Island. It's Dan's parents' house. Explain what Dan's parents' house is.
Yeah, Dan's parents' house is a really cute, it's a really quaint vintage store. So if you want to basically find collectible items, vintage toys, trading cards, it's just a great place to find those little things. I'm pretty sure that they source it. They spend a lot of time sourcing it. And even if you are not a collector, it's just a great place for a nostalgia trip.
Let's talk to Jared in West New York. Hey, Jared, thanks for calling All of It.
Thank you for taking my call. I am so excited that I get to gush about the New York Botanical Garden because it is one of my favorite places on the earth. I commute in from New Jersey to go there, and it is gorgeous. You can spend hours there. Some days it's crowded, but if you go during the week, it's perfect.
That sounds like an amazing trip. If you were to go today, what would you go see?
The Rose Garden. Like, I get a little sad in the winter when it's not open, but in the summer when the Rose Garden is full in bloom, it's just incredible.
I liked hearing you gush about the botanical gardens. That was awesome. Hey, Marina, you're a Bronx native. What is something you liked to do when you were a little kid in the Bronx?
I'm so glad he brought up the Bronx Botanical Gardens because that's exactly what I love to do. So we used to go on school trips in the Bronx to the Bronx Zoo, Bronx Botanical Gardens. Those were all of my favorite things to do. Just, seeing the nature, going on the monorail on the Bronx Zoo. It's, you have to go there when you're in the Bronx.
How has being a reporter for the Bronx Times changed the way you see your own borough?
It's changed a lot about how I view my own borough. So I'm from Throgsneck, and Throgsneck could be really sectioned off. It's very suburban. It's away from a lot of the trains, and just being a reporter from the Bronx, I've explored different parts of my borough. That's a lot different from where I grew up. The South Bronx, the West Bronx, Northwest Bronx, and I've really just learned so much. Someone earlier said that the Bronx is the last frontier against gentrification. I believe that, and as a result of that, you have a lot of people who have lived in the community for generations that have so much knowledge and so much stories about their resilience and what they went through, and it's just amazing to learn from them and being able to tell their story.
Is there anything that we missed that you wanted to say about the Bronx, a certain event or a place you wanted to mention?
Nothing on events, but I just want to say, I love the Bronx. I think everyone should visit the Bronx. Don't just go for a Yankees game. There's so much to visit. The people there are amazing. And yeah, everyone should make a trip to the Bronx.
Listeners, thank you for calling. If you wanted to get a list of the places that we mentioned, our transcripts will be available in the next day or so you can go to those. And thank you very much to Marina Samuel, a reporter at the Bronx Times and a Bronx native. Thank you for coming into the studio.
Of course. Thanks for having me.